All right, so let's quickly take a look at our second module, or let me call it part two of the pivot tables. Now we've already seen what pivot table is, and we said it's a summarization tool that is used to, bring in chunks of data, bringing it together to present and give meaningful results, and to present it to maybe for a business or company. Right now, quickly we look at the part two. So let's quickly do some other things on in this pivot table. There are different ways for you to use the pivot tables, and we've seen in part one how to use it to, you know, add some aggregate functions like the summation to our data, where we're able to calculate, right, the summation of the cells of these people here. All right, and then we actually had to group them into some regions and then the different branches, and we're able to see some of the cells of each of these guys. That's the summation of all their cells. Now, other ways you may likely want to, add more than maybe one aggregate function, such as sum. Let's say we want to add like an average, or we want to add like a count function to this, right? So that's basically what you're going to be looking at in this lecture. Okay, so looking at this pivot table field, we have the name, department, region, branch, hire dates, cells. Right, so let's pick our department to the filter here. Okay, so we move the department to the filter, the same we did last time, and then we move the region. Let's move the region here to the row, and then we're going to move the names of these guys to this place. All right, then thereafter, let's move the cells because these are values. These are values, so let's move it here. These are numbers, and we move it to the values here. And what the value does is that we said that it aggregates our data. So we have to put values, or let's say integers or numbers here. And typical example is the sum column, and it contains integers, it contains values, numbers to say. Right, looking at this, we have the summation of cells. Okay, so looking at the east, we have Israel, Joshua, Joy, Michael, and these are the total cells that they made. And then let's say, for example, we want to add more than these two fields. So we can actually add more than two fields here by clicking, dragging to this. So what Excel does is that it creates for us another column and call it sum of cells, like giving it a value 2 here, right? But we are also getting the same values here, getting the same values, 12,000, 12,000. Now, this is not what we are actually looking at. What we want to do here is to give a count of these cells. So what we do is to click here and then go to value field setting. So instead of summation, we give it count, and then count of what? Count of cells. So rename that to count of cells and then click OK. Right, so we can see we have the count of our cells right here. All right, so please let's go back to our design, and let's make sure that we show subtotals at the bottom here. This is for the east, the total for the east. Okay, we have for the north, this is the total, and these are the different counts of our values. Right, now we can also add more ones here. Let's say we want to get the average of the cells. Click here, go to value settings, then let's pick the average of cells and click OK. So for each of these individuals, all right, we have it in this region. In the east region, we have Israel made an average of this. All right, we have this to be average. So we can as well as click here. We can also put a maximum. All right, we have the maximum of cells. We have also for the minimum and others. So let's just leave the count and click OK. Right, let's leave count and click OK. So here we can begin to format our table. In the design, we can change it to any of the designs that we want. For example, we can keep it this design. Then for the east total, you can actually click the cells, then go to your home, and then the cell field, let's say you want to give it this color. Then for text color here, let's say we'll give it this. So you can apply this to all the other cells here and format your pivot tables whichever way you want to do. All right, so that's basically it, and I wouldn't want to make the video longer. So thank you so much, and I expect to see you in the next class.